From the Northway Bank Online Newsroom, I'm Gary McKenzie. This local and regional news update is brought to you by Northway Bank. Want a Northway Bank teller to keep in your pocket? There's an app for that, now available for iPhone and Android. Download yours today. Northway Bank with 17 locations throughout New Hampshire. The people you know, the bank you trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender. More than 100 sixth graders from Conway Elementary Schools were awarded certificates and special T-shirts Monday at a ceremony at Kennett High School, marking their completion of a 10-week DARE program. Conway Patrol Officer, School Resource, and DARE Officer Rich Tabaj says the Drug Abuse Resistance Education, or DARE program, covers drug information, risk and consequences, peer pressure, communication, getting help from others, and guidance on how to make right decisions. The program is presented to Conway's sixth graders before they transition to Kennett Middle School. Tabaj says he gets a lot of feedback from parents and teachers on the program.
We're all out here for the same general purpose, and that's to make sure that kids are making the right decisions, that they have the abilities to make safe and responsible choices. So that's my whole goal in DARE. It's kind of hard to measure success with DARE because you don't know how many people are actually changed by the DARE program. Have I made a connection with the kids? Absolutely. There's certain kids there that I know now, and going forward I will know through the rest of their school career, and that connection is an excellent thing. If anything, making that connection in DARE so that it blossoms later on in their school career is probably the biggest benefit of DARE. To be able to go in there and say, yeah, I know you. You know, I had you in DARE a couple years ago. They're more apt to have a good conversation with you and a positive view towards law enforcement.
Tabaj says the program is not specifically about, quote, don't do this and don't do that, because he says kids aren't receptive to that.
It's about allowing them to make choices on their own and hoping and praying they make the correct choices and making sure that they have the skills necessary to make those correct choices. It covers bullying, drug use, alcohol use, tobacco use, and the basic everyday scenarios that you have too. And the reason why we do that is to try and measure their skills. So if we have a situation about shoplifting, per se, there's some kids that are going to say something and it's like, well, is that really the right decision? We're trying to get them to think, to get to the deeper root of the problem. Say, you know what? The reason why they ended up in this situation is because they did this specific thing. If they would have changed the variables a little bit, they could have ended up with a good decision.
Students are taught to define, assess, respond, and evaluate. Tabaj made remarks to the graduating students Monday before introducing State Representative Karen Umberger, who also spoke. 3 students, including Megan Martin of Pine Tree Elementary, Ashton Coleman of Conway Elementary, and Mia Plant of John Fuller School, each read their award-winning essay about the DARE program. For more information about it, see the website at conwaypd.com. F-15 fighter jets from the 104th Fighter Wing in Massachusetts are scheduled to exercise over the northern part of Massachusetts today, as well as parts of New Hampshire and Maine. Practice scramble maneuvers are being held this afternoon. The exercise also includes training with the Civil Air Patrol. In Maine news, the Maine legislature finished its session by failing to override Governor Paul LePage's veto of a bill to expand Medicaid to about 70,000 people. Lawmakers could be back next week if the governor vetoes their proposed state budget. Lawmakers fell short of the 2/3 majority needed to override the veto last night, effectively killing the bill that would have expanded Medicaid for 3 years using federal dollars. The governor vetoed the Medicaid expansion Monday night and also has threatened to veto a $6.3 billion state budget, saying a prospect of a state government shutdown in the short term would be better than adopting a budget that includes tax increases. The final House votes came as tired lawmakers attempted to wrap up remaining business. Both chambers were still in session past midnight. In sports, MajorLeagueBaseball.com says Pittsburgh Pirate Jeff Locke needed just a little more help yesterday as closer Jason Grilli blew his first save of the season, and the Bucks took a 2-1 loss to the Reds in Cincinnati in 13 innings. Locke pitched 7 scoreless innings and left the game with his team leading 1-0. He gave up 4 hits while striking out 3 and walking 3. His ERA has dropped to 2.01. Despite getting out to an early lead, the New Hampshire Fisher Cats couldn't hold on and were beaten 5-2 last night by the Altoona Curve in Pennsylvania. And the Portland Sea Dogs blew a 6-run lead and eventually lost 9-8 in the 10th inning to the Fightin' Phils in Reading, Pennsylvania last night. The Chicago Blackhawks beat the Boston Bruins 6-5 in overtime even the Stanley Cup Finals at 2-2. And the Tampa Bay Rays ended their drought at Fenway Park, beating the Red Sox 6-2 last night. In the weather today, mostly sunny, highs in the upper 70s with light winds. Mostly clear tonight, lows in the upper 40s, lower 50s in southern Carroll County with light winds, and partly sunny Friday, highs in the lower 80s. From the Northway Bank Online Newsroom, I'm Pierre McKenzie.